Hello everybody, my name is Sky Darmus. I'm working in the field of quantum gravity, and a lot of you may think that quantum gravity has nothing to do with technology and it doesn't allow for any technological applications, but that's only because the quantum gravity that you heard of is very theoretical and it doesn't make any predictions. And people tend to think that we live in an age where we fully understand the universe, but that's not the case. Without my theory of quantum gravity, you cannot understand gravity and you cannot understand the laws of physics and cosmology and all these things. My theory allows for technological applications such as altering gravity or detecting a material without any form of radiation, just using gravity. And so in order for you to understand how that can work, I will now briefly sum up my theory for you. It's also explained in my book. It has 700 pages, took me 10 years to write. So the cornerstone of this quantum gravity theory that I call SPD quantum gravity, SPD stands for space particle dualism, which is a very central concept of the theory. It's divided into several parts. One of the cornerstones of SPD quantum gravity is the similar worlds interpretation. According to this interpretation, we exist in all worlds that we temporarily cannot distinguish. So this can already explain quantum entanglement. So if spins are orthogonal on each one of those similar worlds, then it's not strange to find them to be orthogonal when we make a measurement and choose one of those worlds. This alone cannot explain why probabilities are wave-like. For that we need space particle dualism, according to which every particle has its own quantum of space, which is a two-sphere, a complex number two-sphere, which is oscillating. So the surface area is a complex number that goes around the complex plane. And so every particle is basically phasing in and out of our universe, and that's why its probability distribution becomes wave-like. And then this also has its own cosmology. Newton said something that is very correct, and that is, he said that if the universe has no center, if it's infinite and has no center, then gravity cannot make it collapse. And I agree with that. And so if the universe cannot collapse, why is it expanding? And according to my theory, it's expanding because of the entropy of black holes. The entropy of a black hole depends on its surface area, and so it increases as a quadratic function, and that's why the expansion of the universe also is a quadratic function. And when we use this theory, then we arrive at the conclusion that the true age of the universe is 42 trillion years. And I've tested this age. I've done many data analysis, a lot of data analysis that shows that the inverse square law is only valid in my theory. In the mainstream, it's violated, and so this is based on 8,846 supernovae, and I also calculate the age of 35,000 white dwarfs, and their age is the oldest one was 35 trillion years old. So there's a lot of evidence for that. And then this SPD, this space particle dualism, it also explains gravity, because according to this theory, every charge, it emits virtual particles, and they increase the density of this granular space that is built by these space quanta. And so in some regions, in a region where there are more of these space quanta, there are more pathways leading through those regions, and that's why particles get attracted by those regions, and that is gravity. And so gravity does no longer depend on mass or energy, but on the number of particles. And so each chemical element has its own gravitational constant, because they have different amounts of negative binding energy. And because the negative binding energy reduces the mass, but it doesn't change the number of particles. And so there are different there's a different amount of gravity in 1 kilogram for each chemical animal, and iron has the most negative binding energy and therefore the highest gravitation constant. And this is what can allow us to alter gravity. If we can inflate the mass using particle accelerators but not change the number of particles, then we have less gravity, less particles per kilogram, and that's how we can make something drop slower than it would usually do. And this is how quantum gravity works. And we also plan on creating some science fiction movie or series that will allow us to promote these concepts and bring them into the mainstream, because I have noticed that science fiction has a big influence on physics and society in general. It has a big influence, and over the last 50 years nothing has changed in physics, and science fiction has not changed, and it's time for new concepts, and it's time for more exciting science fiction. Yeah. Please support us. Yeah, thank you.